This is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and I have discovered that I need another masculine graduation card. So we are going to put this one together rather quickly, and then I'm also going to throw in an extra little bit with you. So let me show you what I'm going to be using first. From Ranger, I'm going to be using the archival ink in coffee, and I'm also going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress ink in antique linens. We'll just set that aside. Now I have two different paper packs here, and I apologize for the glare because I know that it has quite a bit of glare in it, but from the paper company I'm using this Cypress Fashion Colors, and from the Coordinations Canvas Texture I'm using the dark brown from the Timeless collection. So what I did to start with is I went and I printed that same digital stamp that I used on my other masculine cards, if you saw the video a couple days ago. If not, just scroll back, it's just a couple videos back. And it says, it was from Rosebud Crafts, I believe. I'll put the link down below to where I purchased this digital stamp. And it was only 75 cents, and let me tell you, I have gotten a lot of use out of it. It's Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11. So I printed that on my, this kind of, I don't know, latte colored, I don't know, tan colored cardstock, and it's really pretty thin. It's not great paper, but I'm doing so many layers it's going to be just fine. So I actually have printed it twice because I'm doing it for two different parts of the project. Then if you remember that masculine one that I did the other day, I had this left over from those masculine cards, and I really like this animal. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a safari animal. This is from the Die Cuts with a View Safari Chic, and it's an older paper pad. I've had it for probably a few years. I don't know if it's even still available. And this is another scrap from that same paper pad that I'll probably be using, and I have another scrap here on this side from a different, these are from different projects that I'll be using as well. So I'm just going to set those aside, and we're going to work on the card itself first. So I have already my first stamp here, sorry if I went off camera, I have just backed in brown, and I didn't really measure these. I think this color is probably about maybe, probably 2 3/4 inches wide or something like that. But I backed it with brown because I want some separation, and brown is going to be my card base. I took a piece of that brown from the Timeless collection, and this is really relatively thin as well. I don't love this paper for cards, but when I'm layering, it's okay because it provides the thickness that I need. Now for the inside of this, I've already put a piece of the same color from the front, so we've got the different colors coordinating. And the other day I was at Joann's looking for some graduation stuff, and I found this little cap and gown, and so I'm going to take that, and on the inside I'm going to stamp this just to make it kind of tie in for graduation. And I think I'll just stamp it up here in the corner just like so. And that's all I'm going to do for the inside. Now I want to clean off my stamp well because I'm going to be using this stamp again for another part of this project in just a few minutes. So there's the inside of my card. That's all I'm going to do. Well, let's see. This says congratulations. I think I'll go ahead. I forgot this was on here. And this is from the Hero Arts. I believe it's called Happy Messages. I'm not sure. I'll list it on my blog. If you go to www.djsundries.blogspot.com, it will have the name of the stamp set that this is from. But it's a Hero Art stamp set. And it just says congratulations. And that just gives the inside of my card just that nice little extra touch. And then we'll close that up. Actually, I'm not going to close it because I want to give that time to dry. So, as I mentioned, I backed this Die Cuts with a View paper, and I want it to go right here. And it's a little bit smaller than I usually make my card fronts, which is another reason that I layered it. But I was using the scrap, so I had to work with what I had, and I really wanted to use a scrap because I like it so well. It's just a really nice masculine scrap. And I think I'm going to pop this up here, and my plan was to use some ribbon, and that's why I haven't adhered it down yet. I think what I'm going to do here This is a little bit darker. This is from 3 Girl Jam, and this is the hot chocolate ribbon. And I think all I'm going to do with it, even though it's a little bit different brown, I still think it looks okay with it. And I'm just going to tie it in a simple knot. Again, this is a masculine card, so I don't really want it frilly and bows and that kind of stuff. It's just going to be a simple masculine card here. So let's just cut that off, just like so. Maybe make this a little bit less there. And now I can go ahead and adhere that down to my card base. I want to make sure it's straight, just like so. And believe it or not, this card is almost done. Now I'm going to put extra adhesive, and there's 2 reasons. Of course, it will last longer, but the second reason I'm going to put the extra adhesive is because of the ribbon. I want it to not shift and move, and it adds that extra bulk to the card. And I think that'll be just fine, just like that. I think we can go ahead and close it now. That should be dry. So now we've got this, just like that. And now I'm going to, I've already put my image here on some little foam squares that I have. These are old foam squares that I've had for a long time. I don't even remember where I purchased them. And I just needed to get them used up. I'll be honest, they're not my favorite foam squares, but I keep avoiding them, and I've avoided them for so long. The reason they're not my favorite is because sometimes it's a little bit difficult, like you see now, especially with someone like me who doesn't have much fingernail. It's really rather difficult to get the little papers off. So one more right there, and just pop that right there. So there we have our card, just a simple masculine graduation card. So now let's move on to the rest of the project. For this particular card, I need to send a little something with it. It's not someone that I know well, but I still want to just send a little remembrance. So I thought I would make a bookmark out of the card as well, and so, or to coordinate with the card, but then this person can put it in his Bible or wherever he would prefer. And so I decided to make a coordinating bookmark, and then he can throw away the card if he wants. He can throw away the bookmark if he wants too, but this way he will have a little bookmark, just kind of a congratulatory bookmark. And this is where some of my other paper is going to come in. I took another piece of the brown that was left over from the card after I had done my layers, and one side of this is kind of textured, which is very much mimics the die cuts with a view paper. And so I cut this, and I cut it at 3 inches, and I can't remember how long I cut it. Just a second, I'll tell you. I think it was about 6.5 inches. And so I didn't want it to just double, so I went ahead and did 6.5. So that's going to be the base of my bookmark. And then that's where I decided to pull in some of these extra papers. So I think we will start with this one. And so if that one was 3 by 6.5, let's cut this one at 2. Let's go 7/8 by 6 3/8. Let's do the 6 3/8 first. Okay, and then we will do 2 7/8. So there will just be a small brown border around that. And then I found this really fun paper with these little animals in it, and I'm going to cut that to match the width. So I want it the exact same width that I had my other paper, but I want to make it so that there are at least some complete animals. So that's good, right about there. So we'll go 2 7/8 there. And I think I'm going to trim it. It's a little bit longer than what I really would prefer, So I think I'll trim it down like so. So we've got just that little bit of animal showing, just like that. Okay, let's put the paper cutter aside, and we can start adhering these together. Bookmarks are always something that people can use if they're readers. And if they're not readers, if there's someone that maybe carries a Bible, or they're getting ready to go to college, or something that they would need just a simple little bookmark to keep their place in, it's a great thing to have. So that's why I like to do bookmarks. And this one is going to have a really masculine feel. Now, let's see. I do have a little bit more of this chocolate paper. And I think what I will do, I guess I'll pull my thing out again. I'm going to do this again at the 2 7/8 inches wide. And actually, I'll probably go just a little bit wider because I would rather hand trim what I don't need. And then I don't need a lot of this, so maybe I'll just go an inch. I'm just basically using it to provide just a little bit of separation between my printed paper and both kinds of printed paper. So I'm going to put a little bit on there like so. And I'll put this that way, and then I'm just eyeballing it. If you feel the need to measure it, I could pull my non-stick mat aside and measure it if I wanted to, but I'm just going to eyeball it. The idea is just to provide just a little bit of separation. It makes both papers pop just a little bit more. So we'll just adhere that down. Now, if I wanted to, another thing that I could do is when I was all done, I could run this through my Your Story, and which is has a laminating feature, or I could run it even through my Xyron, one of those, but I don't plan to do that. Now, I'm going to put that right there, but I think like this one, I think it would be better if we had just a little bit of separation. So let me pull out some brown paper. I hope I have a scrap here. I hate to break into a whole new piece of paper for that. I'll be right back after I find some more brown paper. So I apologize for the wobbly camera there. I don't have a remote for my camera, so unfortunately anytime I touch the camera it moves a little bit. So I wasn't able to find a scrap that was the exact brown, so I just went ahead and pulled out another piece and cut it, so I'll have scraps for the future. And I've already adhered it down, and that's going to go right about here. But before I do that, there's one more touch I wanted to add, and that's where this antique linen came in. I want to take that same cap and gown, that mortarboard, just like that, and I want to, the reason I chose the antique linen is because you can see through the antique linen, and it's kind of like it was there to begin with. I don't even know if you can see the mortarboard and the cap behind it, but it just makes it look as if it was printed right over the top of that cap and gown, even though you and I both know it wasn't because you just saw me do it. Now let me clean off my stamp again. Set that aside, and then we're ready to adhere this down. Now I'm not putting this on foam dots or anything because for a bookmark I just prefer that it stays nice and flat. That's just my personal preference. I use bookmarks in my books and Bible and everything all the time, so when I have a bookmark I really don't want a lot of bulk. So there we have the front. Now you might wonder why I left so much room. I like bookmarks to have ribbon. That's just a personal preference of mine. So what I decided to do is to take my hole punch, and again I'm just well, I better not eyeball that. Let's pull out my Tim Holtz ruler here, and the reason I like this Tim Holtz one so much, and there's probably others that have the same thing, but you can find a center point really easily. And then I can just put extra lead in my pencil and put it there. There are these holes right here, and that's going to show me right where the middle is. I'm going to have to do it a little bit darker so that I can actually see it when it's time to punch it. And I can just line that up right over my hole. And then I've got it in the middle. So now I'm going to use this same ribbon that I used on the card, but I'm also going to add the latte. Now the latte was a little bit lighter than what I wanted for the card, and the hot chocolate was a little bit darker, but they are a perfect combination for this bookmark. So I'm just going to fold them in half. Oh, this one's got a knot in it. That's why it feels a little strange. Let me just unknot that. Again, one of those things that's difficult to do if you don't have very long fingernails. Sorry about that. I get pieces of this lovely 3-Girl Jan ribbon, and this is a piece that I had in a Ziploc bag instead of rolled on in my storage bin that I keep on my table all the time, and so I missed that knot. Okay, so now we're just going to take those and we're going to push them through. The hole's plenty big, and then I'm just going to open up the loops and I'm going to pull the tails through, and there we have it. We have a card with a bookmark, all ready for a young man who's graduating. So there we have it. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.